Hi, and welcome back to Releasing the Weight. Today's video is a continuation of our series called Navigating Life in Your 20s. And one of the ones that I wanted to talk about was rejection slash isolation. And as you know, my series in about the 20s, Navigating Life in Your 20s, is all about those words that ended in TION. When I thought about all of the things that came to mind in my 20s, things that I've dealt with and had to go through, I said, man, all these words end in TION. So maybe I should start a series. And I did just that. And so today, like I said, is all about rejection and isolation. And I just wanted to kind of just talk about how there are times where you're going to be rejected by opportunities like jobs, situations, relationships, things like that. And you have to build the mindset that rejection is really a rerouting. Rejection is that thing that it is very painful in the moment, but it's that thing that protects you when you look back over your life. And so I definitely, as you know, my age group, which are like the high schoolers on up, the young adults, I just wanted you to be encouraged and just know that if you don't feel like you got the opportunity that you thought you wanted, it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world, and you still have purpose. Don't be like me, all dramatic. Like, well, God, if you gonna reject everything that I try to put my hands to, then what am I doing here on this earth? I used to have a time, but me and God used to have a lot of conversations, and I used to cry in my car and pray in my car a lot. So that car that I have has heard prayers, seen tears, and a lot of things, and that same spot has seen visions as well. God gave me a hope and a future and an expected end, and he gave me something that will help me to continue to want to live and want to be on this earth, because there were times where rejection and doors closing in your face, and after you done tried and you getting up and you trying and you hustling and you trying to make something happen, and everything closing down on you, you're like, well, God, you showed me my future, and it's not looking promising. It's not looking like what we discussed in private. And you can get that feeling like of overwhelmed, like, well, where do I go next? What's next? And so I just wanted to say that sometimes rejection is really protection. I remember saying, or going like 1 week, I was just like, God, I wonder what would happen if for 1 week you showed us everything in the spiritual realm that you protected us from, that we could not see. If only we could see a glimpse, half of it, half of what he does for us in one day alone. I can only imagine the things that God truly protects each and every one of us from. So please don't look at rejection. You may have wanted to go to a particular college or a school and you couldn't go. Don't look at it as a bad thing. Maybe your parents are trying to save money, because I know that's what happened. I wanted to go to an HBCU and do some other things as well. And my mom said, you are not going out of town. And I was like, okay. But we had another conversation the year before. And so she kind of switched up on me, and it's okay. But, looking back on it, it all worked together for my good. When I look at some of those campuses and stuff that I wanted to go to, the dorms were horrible. And I'm talking about miles away. When I tell you I wanted to get away, I was going miles away from where I am, okay? And I look back in all those dorms, and some of the schools that I wanted to attend were not what I initially had this fantasy or this vision in mind. And so sometimes, when our parents or whatever are doing things and it look like they're blocking you, they're really just trying to protect you. If you have good parents, that is, for real. Good parents will protect you from things. So I guess I just wanted to come on and say that sometimes that rejection is a rerouting. Now, the reason why I added isolation onto this is because sometimes rejection will cause you to go into a period of isolation. Sometimes you'll want to be like, sometimes you may want to be in a relationship with a male or female, and it just, God may say it's not the time for it, and you still wanted it, but he kind of he pulls you away from something, or he pulls you away from a set of friends that you might be used to, and he just kind of puts you into an isolation period. And in that isolation, he's showing you why maybe they couldn't go with you. He's kind of building your character in these instances. He's kind of showing you a version of you, and it could be a version of you that may have to kind of, that you need to depart from as well, or it could be a version of you that you need to be cultivated into. So you could be going into isolation for different reasons, and I would say don't look at it as a bad thing. I absolutely love being in isolation, probably so much so that it can sometimes hurt me more than it helps sometimes. But I love being by myself. If I'm out somewhere, there I don't mind sitting at a table by myself. I don't mind sitting by myself. You can understand what I'm saying? And it's funny that I'm even talking about rejection and isolation, because I came across a video, and of course, I don't know who it was, but this man was talking about one of my favorite favorite animals at the moment, and that is the eagle. And he said, show me your circle and I'll tell you how high you soaring.
If an eagle ever sees a bird flying at the same altitude that he's flying at, it must be another eagle. Must be another eagle. Because pigeons don't fly at the altitudes of eagles. And if you find yourself flying with pigeons, you may be flying too low. So you show me your crowd, I'll show you your future.
You're flying and you only see eagles, then you know you operating in a high dimension and a high level. And everybody ain't up there. You understand? But some of us might want to be where the crows are. Some of us might want to be where the chickens are. I don't. But there are some people who have a hard time with letting go of those low places so that they can get to that elevation or that next level. And so I don't mean to go off on a tangent with isolation, but I just thought about that video because he did say, eagles, it ain't too many eagles, flying up there on that altitude, So when you're choosing your friends, choose them wisely. If you only got one other friend, then guess what? You in good company. But if you got a bunch of chickens around you and a bunch of pigeons, as the man used in his example, or a bunch of crows, then you might need to soar a little bit higher. And guess what? Sometimes when you soar a little bit higher, everybody can't go with you. Everybody won't be able to even breathe or handle the altitude that you're in. If you don't know, some things choke in an altitude that is too much for them. So think about that the next time you're rejected. Think about that the next time that you're isolating. Everything can't survive in the level and the dimension and maybe even in the timing that God wants to take you and put you in. So that's the end of this particular video. I have one more video left. Our next video and our final video for this particular series is going to be on celebration, and you definitely don't want to miss that. Stay tuned.